Hello teacups, what's brewing? We're back with Chantal, and even though I swore off live streams, we're back with a live stream. I hate editing them so much, you guys. The body has a remarkable ability to not remember pain, and here we are. Before the video starts, let me just say, because I always get a lot of questions about my makeup, eyes are the Winter Woods palette from Foodie Beauty. Lips are the MAC shade 304 Sultriness in Powder Kiss, topped with a NYX Butter Gloss in the shade Cinnamon Roll. So there we go. Before we start the video as well, I may get my timeline of events a little bit confused here because all this went up and popped off while I was sleeping. She did make a community post. I'm unsure if it's still up. She had one up kind of ranting about people contacting her about ALR and saying, where is she? And she's like, it's nothing to do with you. And people are fat phobic and, you know, the comments are terrible and la la la. The reaction channel is quite small, but it's quite insulting to her. She was not happy. She was going to report it. She did also edit to kind of encourage her viewers to report it, which is against terms of services. And there was some things going on. I'm not sure if that's still there or not. She does reference it in this video, but I don't know if she did it before, then uploaded this video, or if she uploaded this video already angry about it and then did it after, and then with things going up and down, I'm not sure. This video itself doesn't appear to be on her channel anymore. I got this through my notifications. I woke up and watched the first part of it just while I was lying in bed being lazy. And through my notifications, it opens up because it gives you a direct link through the notifications. But when I switched over after about 20 minutes, I was like, okay, get up, have a coffee, watch it properly so you can do a react. I noticed through my computer, when I go to my subscriptions, it's not coming up. She's labeled it day 15 Vlogtober. So she obviously intended it to be a video at some point, but appears to have changed her mind. I would guess that she's put the video to unlisted rather than private because it's still watchable. Whether it still is or not, I'm not sure. If you have the link, but not if you don't have that direct link. So anyone who goes through notifications should still be able to access it. I'm not sure what's going on with that. I think she put a lot of information up here. Maybe she just decided she didn't want to deal with the ramifications of being held to it and decided to take it down. There is a video listed, so she can count that as Vlogtober because she deleted this one. It's the 4 or 5 minute African cassava dish, green puke dish that she put up. It don't look pretty, you guys. I'm sure it's a wonderful meal, but her description of it and the look of it in this doesn't look great. I've only seen the thumbnail, I haven't watched the video. She references it here. So let's get into this video. That's what's been going on thus far. She is in the car. It's raining. She's going to eat. I'm going to be doing this Smoky Steve style. By the way, it's the only way to attack her lives, I find. How do you eat an elephant? One bite at a time. So I'm going to be recapping some of it with my notes. I've got a lot of notes, you guys. I got pages. But I'm going to be showing parts in video to react to more traditionally. But she's in the car right now. She's wearing that kind of oatmeal sweater cardigan thing, and she says she's not wearing her coat or a jacket, even though it's raining, because it's a bit too bulky in the car. I mean, I've worn coats in the car before as well, and you're very much like, you're trying to do the driving, and it's sort of everything's a little bit harder. It's like a kid, like a baby in a romper. It's just like, it's too much, which I do get and I understand and is true of most people, I think, but she does mention that with her already filling a lot of space, the coat does make it very cumbersome, which I understand. I'm surprised she doesn't just put the coat in the back though, so that she can use it when she needs to go outside. That would probably be an easier option. She goes into a section, she talks about BB, about the situation with the Rona in Canada right now, and about her Dominican Republic trip. And she actually does it in a fairly together space of time. So I'm just gonna go straight into that and we'll react as we go for this section.
So today I was supposed to go to BB's to do a video. Actually, I did have today planned.
Oh, that's another thing. Sorry. She said that she had, what exactly did she say? She had a lot of the month planned, but there are a lot of gaps. And I was like, well, then you didn't have a lot of the month planned, did you? Our experience thus far has been a lot of gaps rather than a lot of planning. Maybe it was all for later in the month. It connects to the fact that the Rona has changed a lot of situations she had planned for. But I don't believe for a second she had more than even half of this month planned. She seems very wishy-washy with what she intended to do.
Because I was going to go to BB's. He was cooking one of my favorite dishes that he makes.
That video is up if you are interested.
I did most of the cooking. He was going to make this cassava dish. And it's so good. It has like smoked turkey, meats, ground peanuts, red oil.
That doesn't sound like a great combination. I mean, I'm sure anyone from that area, a lot of foods when described are difficult for other people to really understand the appeal of, but they're such a part of your life that it wouldn't be the same without it, even when it's weird to describe.
It's just really good, cassava. So he was gonna make that, and I was gonna go over and we were gonna do a video on making that.
Poor baby.
So, recently, like very recently, the rules have even changed since around Thanksgiving. And yes, I already talked about what I went for the Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. And she says dinner there. She went for dinners. She went to her family and to Pete's family. And she's saying since around Thanksgiving because she's actually trying really hard not to admit that they changed before Thanksgiving and she didn't give a shit. And she had a lot of feedback in her comments section, pushback about it, because this whole kind of bubble system she talks about apparently is not in effect where she lives right now. They cancelled them because the cases were skyrocketing. So they were like, no, your household. Her household is her and Pete's, and she shouldn't be exposing herself to anyone else right now, particularly with her health concerns, but in general with anyone. And she wanted to do it, so she ignored it. And we talked about this before, I'm pretty sure, where the Rona is a good excuse when she doesn't want to do something, but is easy enough to ignore when she does want to do it. So it's really just about her priorities, and she's not being very considerate at all of anyone around her.
And I don't know, the rules are really confusing to me, but basically, Rena explained them very well to me just yesterday, so now I understand it better.
That's what she got 1,000 comments that were very clear saying, hey, this is how it does. These are the guidelines. Now, guidelines do change. I've got a friend who works in a school in Canada, and the guidelines coming through are very confusing for them. But it was pretty straightforward for her. Bubbles are cancelled, stay within your household, try not to have contact with people. Like, any guidelines are basically underlying them is that. So she had a lot of common sense she could have applied here that she didn't.
But basically, you have to stick with, hold on, I'm trying to get in here on this loser. Sorry, I get road rage and I call everybody losers. You have to stick
with that in a lot of other rage
within your household, and maybe like 1 or 2 people outside of that. And for me, that I
don't think it's 1 or 2 people outside. I think it's your household. She's about to talk about her grandma. I would say that's an exception just because there's no other choices there. Her grandma needs help. She helps her grandmother. So in terms of an extended household, if you're sticking to your household aside from that and only going to your grandmother, you're at least limiting exposure. But she doesn't. She goes driving around like this.
2 people is the one person at least has to be my grandmother because I help her on a regular basis. All right.
It'd be nice if you didn't expose her to everyone else you're exposed to.
I help her on a regular basis. Again, just a reminder, I can't look at the chat while I'm driving because that would be very dangerous.
Yes, it would be.
And I'm actually driving slower because the roads are a bit slippery.
Good.
So anyway, so I am not going to be able to see BB because he still goes out to work and I don't know his social bubble and everything. He's not in my social bubble.
Bubbles are no longer a thing, they got cancelled. I mean, if you are in her area of Canada and that has changed, let me know, because to be completely fair, I didn't look it up before this video. I was going on some of the very emotional comments in her comment section, being like, hey, this is how it's laid out, this is how it works, what's hard about that? So things do change, if I'm wrong.
There's not really even a social bubble right now. So all that to say, I had to cancel today. He's gonna freeze some for me. He cooked everything and shot videos himself. So I thought it was so nice of him and so cute. So I have the videos.
Everyone else, do you think he really offered to do that, or do you think she asked and he was like, okay? And that was how this went down. I can't imagine him offering to do that.
I'm gonna try to put them in a video somewhere so you guys can see what he made. I will put like subtitles because it is hard to kind of understand parts of what he says, because sometimes he talks French. Some of the words are in French, and he has a very heavy accent. So he speaks Wolof, where he's from. And I wonder if I still remember any Wolof. I think like, hey, how are you is like Negadev. And to say like, I'm good, whatever, is like magnifique, I think. Magnifique.
Oh, is that like magnificent in French, maybe? Maybe the meanings are connected there. She was with him for, what, 7 or 8 years? Are these 3 words literally all she learned?
And to say I love you is Damalabugu. But that's about all I know. Oh, I think Dinala Nok means I'm gonna kick your ass.
That's a very specific piece of vocabulary, she knows that. Of all the things she could have learned.
But anyway, so yeah, there's nothing, before you start speculating, like I said, I'm remaining good friends with BB. So, you know, he's free to date people, whatever he wants to do, that's none of my business. We have a very mature separation, and that's how, there's no reason as grown adults that things can't be mature, you know?
That's absolutely true. But I think she confuses the separation wasn't bitter in the way like some divorces can be, in the way some breakups can be, where there's a lot of bad feelings on both sides. I think the relationship had run its course, she couldn't have kids, so the long-term prospects for BB had changed with her surgery and things, and just they weren't working anymore, and probably hadn't been working for a while for it to get to where it got to. We had speculated a lot on the status of her relationship anyway, but I don't necessarily think it's entirely healthy to cling to him the way she does in that regard. She's like, oh, well, it wasn't a bitter breakup, so we're mature. Yes, but speaking every day, doing all this. I think it's fine to have a decent relationship with your ex. I don't necessarily think whatever it is they have is what I would expect of this. Does that make sense? Is that even fair? I'm not sure, but something about it is just a bit, I feel like she clings to him a little bit.
We didn't do anything to like hurt each other, so it's not a bitter ending. So of course we're gonna remain friends. This person was an important person to me for 7 years of my life, and he's been nothing but good to me, and he's a really good person, so I still really care about him as an individual, and I still have a lot of love for him.
I believe
I don't know what that love is, but
I think it's love. I think she didn't get over breaking up with him. I think she's beginning to accept it, but I don't think she got over it. Her actions led to the breakup, but it wasn't her choice to break up, you know?
It's not the same passionate love that we had when we first met, but it's
that was
still
8 years ago.
love for him. So he's, I really enjoy seeing him once in a while. So that was that. So unfortunately, my Halloween get-together will also need to be modified, if you will.
The people she was planning on having around.
It's going to be pretty much just Pete and I and the cats.
I'm glad, because that's the only sensible thing you could do. Like, she was talking about, and I saw them recently, and she's been going around seeing whoever she wants to see, because she's torn between wanting to show she has this full and active life to prove this persona she wants on the internet, and the Rona laws, or laws, suggestions, guidance, whatever. It depends, as time has progressed, how that's changed. But she's been really irresponsible, not just with her own health, because she is very high risk, but with everybody's. The Rona is like an STD. It's not about who you're with right now, it's about who you've been with. And if you think everywhere she's been for the last, is it 2 or 3 weeks that you have to wait to see if you've got symptoms? And she's been feeling actively ill for the last 4 or 5 days of them. And she's still in her car. She couldn't get delivery. It was imperative. She got this restaurant, so she has to drive out to get it. Like, it's so irresponsible, and it genuinely annoys me that even if you don't care enough about your own health, the impact of what you're doing being in contact with so many people.
If I stop talking, it's because I'm trying to pay attention to this stupid road. Like, what the hell? It just changed. Like, you can tell I don't really leave my house much lately.
Excuse me?
Hold on a minute.
No, clearly this Dine and Drive is new uncharted territory for us. She doesn't do it a lot. Come on now.
It's all weird from construction.
She mentioned the construction in multiple of her previous videos. It's not like she didn't know it was there.
There's like road signs going with all these arrows, and I'm just like...
They're diversions.
Reminds me of that, I don't know what movie it was, where like the guy was like following road signs and he was falling asleep. And I think it was Pee-wee, and he would look and like the road sign would be like, the directional road sign would be like a question mark and like all this stuff.
I have no idea. If you know the movie, link it down below.
It's like all weird. Okay, I think this is my exit here. Alright.
I seem to remember a movie where someone was driving, they'd look up at the sign and it would be asking them a question. Oh, maybe like, you know, cryptic crosswords. And it, like those clues they have in the question. Is that a thing? Is that a movie I'm thinking of? Forget her movie. If you know that movie, please let me know.
So my party is just going to be... Are you guys there? Yeah.
Focus on the road.
Cats and Pete's.
I love that she prioritizes the cats over pizza. My cat and pizza.
We can still have fun. Because right now, Ottawa, Gatineau, red zones. So they're like probably the worst in Ontario. They're all of Ontario right now. They're the worst, I think, right now. So
yeah, here she is out and about.
Be extra careful.
Out and about.
And that's what I'm doing by, you know.
Being here.
Everything is canceled until further notice.
Mm-hmm.
Including if things are not different by Christmas, I'm definitely putting my foot down. And I'm not having any kind of interaction for Christmas other than my own household.
I'm putting my foot down. Do it now. Do it 3 weeks ago, 4 weeks ago, 6 months ago, when the Rona stuff started happening. I'm going to put my foot down 9 months into a pandemic. Well, Christmas, definitely not. But, you know, Vlogtober, I'll be everywhere. Yeah, seriously. Does she hear herself when she talks sometimes? I'm not sure she does. When you start putting together what she's actually saying. Yes, she's talking about October things being cancelled, but she was planning to do them. And I'm like, really? As you drive to get your food unnecessarily, now you're going to talk about how seriously you need to take this. And bear in mind, she was exposed to many social groups over the last few days and was feeling ill herself. You should be in quarantine at home right now. You should not be leaving your home for 2 weeks to make sure your symptoms are definitely what you think they are, which are tonsillitis and her general asthma, and not the Rona. But here you are, taking it seriously.
For now, that's how it's got to be. So Pete and I are still going to have the party. We're going to do a video. We're going to have a fun little party. I have so much stuff. I have so much food and candy.
I'm just checking my notes.
Balloons, pin the nose on the pumpkin. I have games. So we're going to do that all together. He agreed to party with me. So it'll still be fun. I don't know. But okay, so.
I'm sure it'll still, in terms of being a Halloween themed party, yes. I've got no problem with her doing it with Pete. But when she's like, oh yeah, I suppose we will. You wouldn't have done much more than that if people had been there. Like, for all she likes to pretend different, she doesn't have that many friends. It only would have been an additional 1 or 2 people.
So my trip, there's just like no way that I'm gonna go this year.
She goes into this, and we will go into this, but I thought she had already cancelled this trip. I don't know why she's mentioning it now, but I was under the impression she'd already said she wasn't going to go weeks ago. So to say, oh, well, the Rona restrictions are getting serious again, weeks ago you decided not to do this.
And it really has nothing to do with my weight.
Bullshit.
I just want to put that out there because I know that's what people are waiting for me to discuss is
Bullshit.
because I did say I want to get healthy, I want to lose weight for this trip, it's my motivation. Things have changed and
you don't
I don't
care
think
anymore.
it was smart regardless of my weight. Like we're just going to put weight aside.
Are we?
It's not smart to make plans to go on a trip to another country during a pandemic.
Absolutely true. Okay, guys, everything she's about to say about not traveling during the pandemic, about the impact it might have on her holiday, about the fact she might not enjoy it, all of that is true, and I 100% agree. Her, as a high-risk individual, she should not be traveling. People, as pandemic concerns, should not be traveling unless it's absolutely necessary. I don't think a vacation is a good thing to do right now. And that's for me, for her, for everyone. Like, I didn't go home this summer because I couldn't. I was trapped in Saudi. And the restrictions on international travel are being lifted on January 1st. And I think we're going to have a spike in infections when that happens. So even though I have a vacation coming up during January, I won't go home, I don't think. I do have one, like, adulting thing I need to do at home that might change things, but I'm going to try and avoid it if I can. That means I won't get home until next summer. I won't have seen my family for 2 years. And that sucks. That's not how I wanted my life to be. But sometimes you've got to look at things and be sensible. So I'm absolutely not against any of the stuff she's saying. But if she had managed to lose that 150 pounds, I don't think she'd be saying it.
I also see people say, well, you order out, blah, blah, blah. That's like completely different than going to another country.
It is. Again, it is. It's still, you're still putting yourself at risk here. I have a problem with the fact that you're driving around, not because you're in your car yourself, but because you're then going into the store, you're not feeling well, you're exposing that to everybody else, and you're exposing everyone else to you. So there's a two-way risk that you're not concerned about. You're concerned about your risk, but not what you're doing to everybody else. But I do agree that it's a completely different thing to say, let's go to another country on a plane, than it is to get in your car and drive for food.
During a pandemic. Like, you're never going to be able to eliminate risk 100%.
So
It'll
let's
be really,
not
really
try.
difficult. Yeah, not eating out. Like, even getting your groceries is risky, right? Because you can, even if you're wearing a mask, if people touch the food and you have to disinfect everything, and, you know, you can do things to minimize the risk as much as possible, but you can't fully eliminate it. It would be
That's true. You can't 100% eliminate it, but you can do a lot more than she does.
very, very hard. So I just don't feel comfortable. Like, I don't feel like it would be the same. We'd have to
That's
wear
fair.
our masks
That's fair.
in certain areas, and maybe, I don't even know what the cases are like over there. I don't even know if there will be even a flight. They're canceling a lot of flights.
True.
There's probably not even going to be a
I'm with
flight to Dominican Republic. Like, it's just, the reason I'm saying no is because I have to make a decision for this group planning and make the full payment, which is like a few $1,000s, because I'd be flying first class. I want a big roomy seat.
That's a lot. I mean, for first class, it's not. A few $1,000s. So 3,000 Canadian is what? 2.5 United States? I don't know what the conversion rate is. I think it's about 1,500 to 2,000 British pounds. I think somewhere around that. So it's a fair old chunk of money to have to come up with. She had paid some other installments, so I don't know what's going on with that. But she's been spending money like water recently, and it's not a small amount of money to come up with, especially with all the upgrades she had done. So,
but that's not. It's like, I don't want to pay all that money And whenever I asked them about getting a refund or credit for another trip, you know, generally we could get credit for another trip, but they gave me kind of like a vague, shoddy answer that I'm not comfortable with.
I am with her on this. Sorry to keep stopping, but I had since way before the Rona just exploded, back in kind of early to mid-February, I was making my summer plans because part of my contract at work is that I get a flight home every year. So I went through the motions, I got my dates and I booked for that, and my work booked that trip. And then I also booked a trip to go to New Orleans to visit a friend of mine, again in the summer. And I have been working to try and get that flight money back since April. April 27th, I logged a dispute with my credit card company because last minute, the company that I booked the flight through are fucking terrible. And there's been a lot of very shoddy practices with a lot of travel agents in terms of getting refunds. And they wanted to offer, it was taking months and months and months and months. They wanted to offer a travel credit, which I couldn't use because I can only travel during those times and the travel credit was only valid for so long. And because we don't know what's going on, and you know, I didn't want to take the credit, I wanted my money back. And I logged a complaint. It took my bank 4 months to put a temporary credit onto my credit card while they continued the dispute. And then a couple of weeks ago, I got a letter from my bank at my dad's house saying, oh, last minute have disputed your dispute and we're going to take the money back unless you tell us in 7 days in writing that you want to continue the dispute. They disagree. And I was like, well, of course they disagree. Continue the dispute. So, the call to prayer just started. And so I'm still dealing with that, and they've got, they disputed on like the 42nd day of 45 that they could have, and I'm still waiting for the response. I've sent all my evidence and I'm still waiting for the response because at the time we couldn't get into the US, like we couldn't fly, and I couldn't go to, I couldn't go through Germany because it was the Schengen zone and that was banned, so the flight path they put me on wasn't suitable. But I've got an actual case with actual evidence and I'm still having trouble with that refund. So I'm enraged by that and I'm waiting to see what will happen. But I completely 100% think she should not pay for that ticket because I don't think there's any way she could get there with all the shutdowns anyway, but she will never get that money back. She did say when she booked it way in the beginning, when none of us really thought the Rona was going to go on this long, but way in the beginning, she was like, oh, well, we can get credit for another trip. I'd be really careful with that because I don't think she's going to get shit.
So I don't know. I've never flown with this company before. I just, you know what I'm saying? So I don't want to, I have to pay that all like next week.
Don't do it.
And then the trip is in February. Anything could happen by then. I don't feel comfortable with that. I would rather just book a flight like last minute knowing that things are okay. So once things with COVID are okay, I'm definitely going to be going on a trip. And I'm pretty sure that the first trip I go on, I'm going to make it probably to Jamaica to see my aunt because...
She said this for years. She was using it as a motivation a couple of years ago to lose weight and then she was going to go in the summer and then she didn't. I 100% agree with her not paying for that ticket. I think it's pointless and stupid to do that right now. She'd never see that money again. But I think if the Rona wasn't a concern, she'd be finding a different excuse not to go. I think she's at the point where she wouldn't have gone regardless, and the Rona is a very convenient thing right now. I agree with everything she said, but no, she'll never make this trip to Jamaica. You guys, I'm marking it now. She's not going to do it.
I've been promising her for years and years, and I'm just going to stop making excuses. And just go with it, you know? That's what I'm going to do.
Or not do, as the case may be.
Yeah, so, I mean, for now, I'm honestly just going to take it easy and just keep things to Pete's and I for now. It
Please
sucks.
do.
Like, I don't even know if
Please
I'm
do.
really going to see my mom. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't know. I just feel like it just has to happen. Things are getting serious again. And I'm starting to feel, I was feeling worn down. Like, I'm feeling better there, like, but I don't know. I don't want to just chance it. And plus,
I agree with you not chancing it. It sucks. I haven't seen my family in a long time. It sucks. But you've already taken that risk with them, because the incubation period for COVID, if you've got it, or if they've got it, or if anyone's got it, it's too late. You've exposed yourself. So to now be super concerned, I don't want to hear it from you, honey.
Yes, yeah. So the trip is not happening for now.
Forever.
But I did tell my mom, once we have a vaccine or once we're able to travel, I don't see that happening for a while. Things are bad. Things are bad right now, and I don't even think they have flights like to other countries right now. I don't know, like it just doesn't seem like the right thing to do. It just seems like prudent to, you know what I'm saying? And yes, I'm going to be going on drives, like things that we will be doing. There's the drive-through haunts. I have a couple of those coming next week. So those are okay. You're in the safety of your own car. You're wearing a mask.
Yep.
Things that are safe to do for Halloween or whatever.
I think that's fine. She's staying in a car, whatever. I'm all good with it.
Taking even a drive by yourself is okay. You're in the car by yourself. You have your mask if you need to go in somewhere. I do limit.
She's doing that right now. It's fine, but it's more what she does when she's outside of the car whenever she gets to a destination.
The outings I do.
You don't. Sorry. She doesn't limit the outing. Her outings are for food. She does them on a nearly daily basis.
Groceries, I pick them up. I don't even go in the grocery store.
It's because you can't walk around the grocery store.
So
I love how she twists what she's doing here. She can't walk around the grocery store. That's why she started doing orders.
Yeah, my attitude's definitely changed about the whole COVID thing, like for sure. Even
her attitude has changed in the way her attitude changes every time she starts a new diet. No, well, I understand that I'm healthy now, and it's going to stick for about as long.
More serious than before. But I didn't think at the time that I was like, I'm going to take this trip. I'm very impulsive. I do something right away, and then after, I do the logic thinking behind it. But at the time, I didn't think it would be this bad and go on this long. I thought February, oh my God, yeah, that's so far away. This was like in March. And I was like, things have got to change by then.
And to be completely fair to her, I understand that. Like, I don't think any of us could really picture how long this was going to go on for. Worst case scenarios, yes, obviously it goes on for this long, but I think we were all hoping we'd get through the end of winter and it would just kind of go away. Whether that was a realistic hope or not, I can believe when she booked this, she was like, it's such a long time, things have to get better. And I don't even really blame her for that thought.
But no, they're not getting better, and flu season's around the corner, and the virus is going to be researched. You know, it's like round 2, and it's just like, I don't see me being able to enjoy this trip during the COVID pandemic.
I agree.
And that's just...
I don't think the primary concern is your enjoyment. I don't think it's safe for you to go, but I agree.
You know, people are going to say that's an excuse because, you know, they just see my weight as an excuse for everything, you know, that I don't want to do. And it's... Like
I said, I don't think anything you're saying is wrong. I don't think you should go on this trip. I think it's perfectly logical reasoning to say this is a terrible idea. But I think if the Rona wasn't a thing, you'd be finding a different excuse.
Not. In this case, it's actually more the pandemic.
I think they're equal.
Oh no. What's the hold up? That's what's happening with the trip. It's not happening, at least not now. And like I said, I don't know, like there's also an aspect of me feeling safer going to Jamaica because, not because of the countries, but because I have a grown family member that would be there and knows the region. You know,
I think in terms of the Rona, it's absolutely no difference going to Dominican Republic, going to Jamaica, or the presence of your family member or not. I think it would be cheaper for you to go to Jamaica because you could stay with your aunt. I think you could rely on her more to plan out what you do while you're there. But in terms of the Rona, I don't think it makes a difference.
I feel safer with my aunt. And like I said, I've been promising her. So I impulsively, when my friend was telling me about the trip, and I was like, I want to go. And
she invited herself on the trip, confirmed.
In retrospect, I probably shouldn't have, because
yeah,
you know,
I mean, we did
I
say
don't know
that.
if she's still going. I don't know what's happening. I haven't even heard from the travel agent, and like.
That's interesting that apparently they were all going together and she just hasn't heard from her friends. And that she's made the decision to cancel, but apparently hasn't heard from her friends. So she hasn't consulted her friends with this. She's just not going to pay the balance. That's kind of a shitty thing to do. Not unexpected with the COVID. I don't know if they're still planning on going. I would understand if they're not and if everyone cancelled. But what effect does her not going have on their trip? She doesn't know. It might have no effect, but she doesn't know and she hasn't checked, and that's kind of a shitty thing to do.
Forever, so I don't think that I'll get my money back that I put down as a deposit, but it was only like maybe like a few $100s, if that.
I would try,
remember,
but
honestly.
yeah, you might not.
See you in 2025, yeah. Who knows at this point, seriously, but we just have to remember, like I just keep thinking, just have to remember this is only few years, hopefully. Oh my god.
That feels like a long time. I mean, they're getting the trials for a vaccine done at the moment, aren't they? But I mean, the little I've looked at it, they do seem to be moving it through very fast. I don't know how much I trust it. I would want to see more thorough testing. But my work right now, we've been confirmed work from home until January. It was announced, and there's rumours going around that it might just be the rest of the year, and that they don't want to change it yet. So I guess we'll see, but it's definitely a longer term thing. I just need to swap my camera over 1 second.
I don't know, like that would be bad if it went on for a long time. Well, it's probably going to be a little while yet. You know, I don't think that I have a grandfather I really want to go visit in the States.
We heard about this grandfather before. For it to be someone she's like, oh, I really want to go visit him. I've never heard her talk about him before. I've heard her reference family members like when she was younger, but I was always assuming Canada. Like, I don't think we've heard much about this guy, but I could just not be remembering it. Let me know if you remember.
I don't know how much time he has left. He's getting up there in age, and I never see him. Maybe next year if things are still, you know, if COVID's still around, but I don't know. I think next year we'll be able to start traveling again if they get the vaccine and all that. I would fly away to Florida to see him maybe for like a week or something would be, we'll see how it is. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself, so.
So she talks about her trip. She had a whole passage of a weird dream she had, and I will save you. It's nothing important. It's a lot of, I don't know, zombies, and she was in a weird place and she hates people, and Madonna was there and someone else was there and Madonna was trying to convince him to go down on her, and just a whole thing. She starts talking about TV shows. She's watching Nosferatu at the moment. There's another show that she doesn't like. She said she doesn't, unless she's watching an actual romance movie, she doesn't care about the romance plot lines, because she doesn't care about gratuitous sex and love shit. And I was like, you care very much about at least one of those things. So then we go into this section. She's just talking about some of the future plans she has.
Once I am allowed to travel again, I can plan some traveling, you know?
Well, yeah.
Because it gives me time to save up too, because like there's a lot of things, you know, traveling is not really that, is not cheap, right?
That's absolutely true, and she could do with being a little more aware of her money and her spending, because I think if she were to cut out, sorry, itchy face, if she were to cut out some of the just meaningless spending she does, she could actually afford to go on some really nice trips. That would be lovely. You think of all the crap she's bought that she didn't need. Some of it she did, but a lot of it she didn't. She could have put away a nice chunk of change there, and that would have been a great trip when the time comes. She's not going to do that, and as much as she talks about trips, like with anything, she enjoys the planning and not the doing. So she'll think of all these wonderful trips she could go on, and she'll never go on them, which is kind of sad. But, you know, make those plans. Maybe one day you'll follow through.
And I have like a dream of like one day taking my aunt to on like an African safari. She's been to Africa, she's been to Ghana. But that, I don't know, I'd have to really be, and yeah, for sure in better shape for a trip like that.
And that ends up being the answer to everything. They're like, you don't have to be in perfect shape to go on any of these things, but you need to be in functional shape. And that's the difference. Like, she's very, very close to not being functional. A little bit later in the stream, I can't remember if I've got it in a clip or not, she talks about cleaning and how she has to take lots of breaks when she's cleaning. And like, if you can't handle walking around a room in your apartment for more than a minute or two, yeah, we've talked about how limited her life is, but these will remain plans. And she doesn't seem to be doing anything to change that, so...
I want to go on an African safari. They're expensive.
Yeah, they are, but that's
hey.
not... They're expensive, but that's not your biggest barrier. You know, like, you can save the money. The money is not your issue right now. Although you would have to make some changes in order to save that money, it's a possibility. So long as you're so limited by your own body, it's always going to be on the sidelines.
We can all dream and continue to work on ourselves, right?
You can definitely continue to dream, and you can definitely continue to work on yourself. But you have to do both of those things. Or you have to definitely do the second in order to do anything useful with the first. And I think she gets so caught in the dreaming and never in the doing. So she continues and she ends up picking up a chicken shawarma sandwich with a ton of grapevine leaf things and some tabbouleh, which is like a bulgur wheat salad with parsley and things. And let me just see where we are in the next clip.
Okay, here they have amazing grape leaves. Like, the woman makes them. I've been raving about them. I'm pretty much going to get the whole tray if I can and just save them.
She said she's just going to save them. Can we just say, in recent times at the very least, her track record in saving food has not been great. That fudge she bought for the party and then put her fingers all over and tried, she admitted in the live stream that no one got in the live stream that you were there or you weren't. She admitted she'd already eaten it all. It was all gone. And that was a lot of fudge. And it's possible her soup made it to the freezer because her soup wasn't particularly exciting for her to eat. But she's constantly saying, oh, I'm going to freeze it. She doesn't. She just eats it.
A chicken shawarma sandwich. Ooh, yummy.
I'm going to save you the demonic voice. She picks up chicken shawarma, like I said, and she goes through the other food.
These are the best I've ever had.
She's got 10 grape leaves in that box.
They're fresh, they're seasoned deliciously. This is messy.
She complains about things being messy. It's a panini, it's a pressed sandwich. If it's messy, it's you. So throughout the eating of this, which I'll try and spare you as much as possible, she goes back to the chat, she talks for a bit, back and forth, she gets some super chats. They talk about chow chow, that pickle thing that she got sent by her mod. And one of the viewers says, oh, have you tried it? And she said, yep, half the jar's already gone. She said she's got some more of those glorious gherkins on order. That small batch provided from Texas that does the really weird flavors. So she's got even more of those on order. God, that seems like an expense. Speaking of saving money, she does mention that she should start pickling things herself. She absolutely should. Guys, she loves pickles. She should start doing them herself because making them at home would be marginally healthier, I'm guessing. It would definitely be cheaper. It would give her something to do. She could try out new things. Like, pickle stuff, it's almost a hobby. Do it. Like, why doesn't she try doing that at home? You would think, oh, this is something I love. Let me try making it. Makes complete sense. She should definitely do it.
Oh, somebody deleted that asshole. Like, where is it okay to call somebody... I'm not 600 pounds, but if somebody was 600 pounds, where is it okay to call them a beast? Like, you're an asshole.
The guy who did this was 100% an asshole for doing it. Like, you call someone a beast, that's unkind. But I will say, without defending them, I will say, as much as it was 100% an asshole comment, she 100% set herself up for it by dressing up as Belle in Beauty and the Beast and doing a mukbang. So, you know, she's always ignores the fact that the stuff she does is put into the public domain. And like, I'm not saying they're right for doing it, but if you're gonna paint the target on your own back, don't be surprised when someone fires a shot. That's all I can really say on the matter. So I'm gonna let her continue because it's the start of some ranting she does throughout this live. But that's my thought on that.
People are literally embarrassing to humanity. They see a fat person eat and they flip out.
They do. An ongoing theme with this live is how unfair the world is and the rights of fat people. When she says people are embarrassing, she's got absolutely no self-awareness that she's hiding in her car, pounding enough food for 3 people. She's got that massive sandwich. She's got a box of 10 grapevine leaves things, and she's got a tabbouleh salad. That's 3 people's worth of food. And she's got no self-awareness at all to be like, oh yeah, people are an embarrassment. What? Like, I'm not saying they're kind, I'm not saying they're right, I'm not saying they should be saying it to you. But think about how this appears as you're giving that denouncement.
Oh well, keep watching, keep being mad.
Oh honey, I'm not.
Thanks for your view.
You're welcome. I'm not mad when I see her at all. Like, this is interesting. I find her content, I find the way she views herself versus the way she views other people, the way that she justifies her own actions as not being the same as reactions, but doesn't apply the same rules to reaction channels that she applies to herself. I find the way she justifies food. I find it all very interesting. I am mad, honey, I'm interested. But you are completely welcome to my view, and you're completely welcome to any view my channel makes for you in the act of making people talk about you more. Like, I'm okay with that. Someone on my channel a little while ago, a couple of videos ago, was like, oh, I happen to like her, and thank you for the engagement and adding to her bank account. Sweetheart, you're welcome. You are welcome to my views and any views I generate for you. I'm here for it.
Yeah, Nikocado. Prawn food.
Yeah.
It's the best food. Apparently did like, I said shh or whatever.
She's so annoyed.
But I don't get how that's shade. I guess that's how you're interpreting it. People want to throw shade, whatever, I don't care.
She cares very much when people throw shade. And this is another example of how I say, you know, she says that, but then she goes hard for reaction channels. She said that, but then look at her demeanor. Look at how she's talking right now. She really looks up, for whatever reason, for better or worse, and I very much think for worse, she really looks up to Nikocado Avocado. She sees him as the goal. She wants a channel so popular. She wants the views. She wants the attention. And so to have him, she's like, oh, I guess you're interpreting it as shade. You can tell from her demeanor that she's interpreting that in the same way, and she's trying to kind of sort of smooth it over and laugh it off. Well, not even laugh it off, but like, it hit her when he did that, and she knows, like, she's taking it as him making fun of her a little bit. So yeah, you can say you don't care, but nothing in your actions show you don't care. Goes back to the topic of BB and the fact that she can't wait to eat the cassava. So this is going through her mind again. The conversation in the chat as she's waiting at this light briefly turns to merch. And considering she's actually got a catchphrase and she's got everything, I'm surprised she hasn't done more with the Beauty Bite thing. She said she wants to put Sam on a mug. He has a really cute face. Would you like that? Someone earlier in the live, and I think I cut this, mentioned she should have a pickle company called Beauty Bites. And I was like, I'm here for that. Yeah, start making your own pickles. I mean, could you imagine buying from her in terms of health and food safety? Nah. But in terms of an idea, it's a good one. I'd say go for it. She mentions she doesn't like Tim Hortons. I'm sure we've seen her at a Timmy's at some point debating if she wanted donuts. So I don't think she dislikes them. But she said, in terms of the food, I don't think she's thought about it before, but she said that someone, Pete, told her that they're worse than Starbucks because she's a woke queen. She can't remember why though, so she's not going to go into the conversation. But it's enough for her to swear off and say she hates Tim Hortons and have a bit of a weird exchange with Joe, who she seems to be very tense with at the moment. She burps, she flashes a bra for no particular reason. She blows and picks her nose on the napkin that she just wiped her hands with. That's awesome.
Bad asthma runs in my family. So the hospital's been trying to...
God, she's about to lose her shirt.
My family doctor...
Oh, man.
Has...
How about you don't roll your fucking eyes at the person who's trying to save your fucking life? My family doctor wants to check on my breathing because I might have a problem. What is the matter with you? My family doctor, this annoyed me so much. And like she's sitting there struggling to breathe.
Told me that the hospital didn't have my change of phone number. They've been trying to reach me to get some pulmonary testing done. See how wheezy I am? No matter how fat you are, that's not normal.
That's not normal. It's very much exasperated by how fat you are. Yeah? I had the same issues. Asthma runs in my family. I had it really bad from my mid-teens to sort of my mid to late 20s. And then it kind of disappeared. I occasionally get hit up when a dust storm happens here. I have to use an inhaler occasionally. But you're sitting there genuinely struggling to breathe, and this goes on. And then you're rolling your eyes at the doctor. What are you doing? I mean, listen to her for a minute.
Don't worry, I'm gonna be okay. I just need to cough it out. I need to go get my puffer.
I didn't mean to stop it there. The reason you feel the need to cough it out when you're having trouble with your chest and your breathing is because your airway is narrowing and it feels like you need to clear a blockage. Because it feels just like you can't get enough air and it's like you're breathing through a straw. That's how it's been for me when I've had asthma attacks. But let's keep in mind the surrounding events. I don't feel well. Oh, it's my usual tonsillitis. It feels a little bit better. It's passed, but I've still been a bit under the weather. But, you know, it's a respiratory illness and I haven't had any problems. And then she's sitting here and yes, her default state is having trouble breathing. But she needs her inhaler more right now and she's really, really struggling to breathe. And yet the doctor who wants to test her lung function, because hey, that might be a good way to check it's not the Rona. She'll expose herself to everyone and everyone to her. Do you see yourself right now? How irresponsible you're being with your own health, but worse, how irresponsible you're being with everybody else's. How do you know this is your usual thing? How do you know it's not Rona? You don't is the answer unless you go get tested, but you're taking absolutely no precautions in a complete disregard of anyone around you. So someone in the comments mentions Pete's and Amazon, and she talks about her house being kind of hoarder style right now with Amazon boxes. And she says, well, it's because she thinks of something she wants and she's like, Amazon time. And then she corrects herself and she's like, well, it's something I need and I need a lot of things. I'm sorry, if we go back in her channel just in recent history, she's bought a lot of crap that she doesn't need. And you've got to remember when she buys this crap as well, she's always going for the more expensive versions of things. So I think need is being used very loosely here. But it's currently 8:06. She wants to get to a pharmacy to get a puffer. Someone says she should get Tinder. She's like, no, I'm not dating, not online dating. I'm not into it right now. And her breathing continues to be a thing.
How is she so fat? How are you so judgmental? How are you such an asshole? I'm sorry, but would you guys not rather be fat than be a shitty human? You could lose
You can be both.
weight, but you can't change. the karma you're gonna get from being a total dick.
Again, a complete lack of self-awareness. The fact that she is fat and she eats the way she does is one minor, tiny point in relation to everything else she does. But again, we'll apply that rule to the commenter who was being mean, but she won't apply the same thing to herself. She doesn't look and say, hey, I'm kind of a bitch online, but clearly it's the fat that's the issue. So she goes and she's waiting at a light and she starts talking about hot Lebanese guys and how all the guys she's seeing are hot right now.
Hello. I'd rather a spontaneous encounter. A hot encounter where it's like, why am I talking like this?
I don't know.
Something is awakening within me. Yeah, this guy's hot. I love, like, Lebanese guys are sexy because they have that dark, thick, luscious hair, dark eyebrows, like certain facial structure that's like really masculine. But I like feminine looking guys too. I just love boys, okay? Like I said before, I appreciate beauty in everything. If a guy has an awesome brain, I'll be attracted to that, no matter what they look like. You know, it's like everyone I've had a long, meaningful relationship with has not been my type. So
you've had 2 longer, meaningful relationships.
Personality wins me over.
No, it doesn't.
How you treat me wins me over. You know what I'm saying? What kind of boys do you guys like? Or girls, if you're a boy and you like girls, or if you're a boy and you like boys. What kind of boys you like?
Can I just say, the way she refers to men as boys really makes me uncomfortable sometimes. And here's the thing why. She does it to kind of juvenilize what she's saying. Because I think she thinks it makes her more cutesy and more accessible. I'm just boy crazy. And in like an early teen age girl who's like, oh, I just like boys, maybe, and it's her going back again. She has this image of herself when she was in like early high school and it was the best years of her life and that's the way she always sees herself. But when you juxtaposition it with some of the other ways she talks about men and how heavily she sexualizes it and how she talks about wanting an encounter and just the way her thought process goes back and forth, I really don't like the use of her saying, oh, I'm boy crazy and I like boys, alongside the way she engages with that conversation at other times. It really doesn't strike me as right and I don't enjoy it. So she continues, she farts and cracks a window while giggling because that's the kind of person she is. Speaking of juvenile, she's hoping Starbucks is open and she has this idea.
We're supposed to do a John Wayne Gacy video. So I'm gonna dress up like Gacy. I'll probably look like him too when I dress up. And I'm gonna do his death row meal, which was apparently a bucket of fried chicken, a pound of strawberries, and fried shrimp.
Remember, was it last Halloween, 2 Halloweens ago, where she caused a bit of a ruckus by making a cheese graveyard and showing pictures of dead bodies on her channel? Apparently she has learned absolutely nothing in terms of suitable propriety, in as much as propriety is an issue in mukbangs. There are things you maybe don't do. Like I'm saying, you can do a slightly morbid but interesting series on last meals of prisoners. I'm not saying that wouldn't be a kind of creepy but relevant thing. But to say I'm going to sit there and dress up as this guy, that is a terrible idea. I'm always here for her dress ups, but no, madam, no. That is a terrible idea. And this person is actually connected to his crimes. Like, have some goddamn respect. Yeah, not necessarily for the guy, but this is not an appropriate thing. Do not do that. She then goes on to talk about how she prefers animals to people. This whole discussion of the serial killers and how, you know, animals kill when they need to, and sort of the higher reasoning humanity has doesn't seem to have led them anywhere good. And people are horrible. And if you look at some of the loony bins on YouTube, even social media brings out the worst in people without a hint of self-awareness there, seriously. And that leads into her ranting a bit more about channels on YouTube. This links back to her community post about the channel she was going to report, and encouraged her. Well, I think she said, don't forget, viewers, you can report channels too, is what she said. So this is what this is about.
And then that one I came across today, which somebody pointed out to me, and it's just like a friggin' man, like an old man from like the friggin' Metallica Enter Sandman video, putting on a creepy wig and lipstick and being a completely fucking asshole jackass. And people like watching that, you know? It's like, okay, well, you're insulting me for whatever reason, but you look like the real fool because you are a complete dick. Like, if my grandfather was doing that, like, what kind of embarrassing human being are you? So
I've always wondered, she claims that her family, I know they know about a channel, she's filmed with her family, that her family watches it and she has no problem with it. Like, does she not also feel something of a sense of awareness of what she might look like to her family? I'm never sure. Like, that's one of the things, I mean, when she levels criticism at reaction channels, she's frequently doing exactly the same thing in a different context. So I struggle to agree with a lot of her arguments in the sense of, okay, no, you can say that, but if it applies to us, it applies to you and vice versa. So until you're willing to apply these things to yourself, how seriously do you expect me to take it? You know?
I'm sorry, but I don't feel like you have any advantage here, like on any human level. Plus, yeah, it might, you know, putting that on my community post might give them exposure, but their channel's probably not going to be around for much longer anyways.
Possible. I mean, you did tell everyone to report him, so we'll see, but I don't know. I can't believe she doesn't apply some of these things she says to herself as well.
Because that's like direct bullying. That's like coming on camera as the Enter Sandman old man with a wig and being like, you fat bitch cunt. Like, how uneducated are you to like do that thing? And then like, that's pure bullying. So
yep, if you said that, that is bullying. But at the same time, you've just said quite a few things about him. So I'm not saying one is better than the other. I'm saying at the very best, we're all as bad as each other, maybe.
It's things like that it's not that what this person says about me bothers me. It's just
clearly
that
does.
In general, it's like making an example. Like, you know what I mean? I just feel like you just realize being on social media how fat phobic society is. And people will roll their eyes and be like, oh, whatever. But it is. It's true. You can't ignore it. And as an obese person, I firsthand have experience with that. And I see how other people are treated on YouTube with that as well. And I don't know. People confusing weight with like more lack of morality or character flaw. It's a big thing. There's a big movement about it on Instagram.
There is, and she's been reading up, which makes me think she's maybe closer to a new cycle than I thought, because this tends to be that whole sort of healthy at every size and sort of embrace your body shape and be happy in the body, and that whole movement. She tends to kind of cycle back to it when things are changing like that. So she's not wrong. There is a big movement about it, but she always goes into this, and this goes on for a while. She always goes into this idea of like the world is not fair. And don't get me wrong, like fat phobia or even fat stereotyping is very much a thing. Yeah, people judge you on being fat. I'm not sitting here and arguing they don't. But we don't need to judge you on your weight. We don't need to apply those stereotypes to your weight because we have evidence of your personality. Yeah? Because fat or thin, you've done some shit and you have a horrible personality. I'm sorry, that's incredibly unkind. I get it. I'm not saying any of us are better. I'm saying we don't need to rely on those stereotypes in your case. We have enough evidence without it.
That's why it would be discrimination to demonetize like Amber Lynn's channel or even my channel because, and I know that Obese to Beast said this, it's like you you can't demonetize somebody and say it for eating something if they're fat. You can't. You know.
I actually 100% agree with that. She goes on, and this video is going on, but she goes on to make the point that you don't know what's going on behind closed doors. So you don't know if what you see on camera is typical for their life or not. And actually, she is 100% correct and I don't think that the rumor has gone around that YouTube will demonetize videos for a long time. And there was something recently about them changing the algorithm in terms of what was advertiser friendly, I believe. So there was a lot of speculation recently in the community that she definitely doesn't watch about demonetization and all of that. So I don't think YouTube will demonetize because there's too many things they would have to prove off camera that they can't prove, which is a completely fair thing for her to say. And so people can keep speculating on this, but I don't think she can. She does desperately want everyone to believe that she's a healthy queen off camera, which is simply not the case. And it's an argument she falls back on a lot. She's like, you don't know what I do off camera. Honey, we don't need to see it to guess because we don't see the action, but we do see the results. Yeah? And there are some people that are very careful with their health around the food related content they do, and therefore the result is they look healthy on camera. This has not been the case for you. Okay, but in terms of monetizing, demonetizing, yes, there is an argument there that there'd be too much involved in this very sensitive subject for YouTube to take the demonetization and be like, nah, bye-bye. I don't think it will happen. Oh, she does say, I was going to cut this entire bit, but she does say this.
If let's say I was like eating, I don't know, I don't eat like huge quantities of food, but
Bitch, what? Yeah, you do. Yes, you do. But let's move on. She also goes on to say that medical records and what they're doing off camera, it's nobody's business. So in terms of proving it, you never would. That's totally fine. But she also makes the point, she was like, what I eat is none of your business, okay? And I'm like, actually, it's literally your business. It's how you generate your income. So given that we are a major component in generating your income, and this is your job, this is your literal business, we are part of that business. So in your case, because your income is centered around your eating, you are not in the same boat of somebody who's just trying to lose weight online, trying to do whatever online. If you're generating income from the business of you eating, it is therefore our business as part of that income generation. She then goes on to discuss her weight loss, or indeed lack of same, and why she therefore doesn't believe that she wants her weight loss on camera.
That's largely why, like I always say, like I don't discuss my weight on my channel anymore because it's just, I feel like for a long time, anytime I've done that, I'm not doing it for myself, I'm doing it for others' perceptions of me. And weight loss has to be for yourself, you know what I'm saying? And it has to be a journey for yourself. And it's very personal for me, so I don't feel like I want to be a fat person just another fat person online who has to justify their weight to other people or how I'm eating. You know what I mean?
For the record, nobody has to do that. You choose what you put online. Nobody has to be justifying their weight online.
I think I don't know, I'm just like so anti-diet culture right now as well. I feel like diets don't work. How many of you have been on a diet long term and it's worked? And I don't mean like lifestyle changes, like maybe keto. People have been on keto for a long time. That's like a whole different way. That's like a lifestyle change. But I mean like fad diets. You know, diets don't work, right?
Fad diets don't work. So stop doing the fucking fad diets and start changing your life. People aren't telling you to do fad diets on live. They're saying change your life so you don't die. They want to see a lifestyle change from you.
So I'm just struggling with mental health and trying to heal up in a lot of different ways that I think are going to be pivotal to me succeeding in any kind of health matters.
When you say trying, could you please explain to us how you're trying? And this is what people are interested in, because you're not seeing a professional for it, and you're not eating healthier. And for all you say, oh, I could be doing it off camera, you could, but you're not, because you look iller in every single video. You look more sick, you look like you're struggling more. I can 100% believe it either leads to or is caused by mental issues around food and other things that you are dealing with. But when you say you're trying and it's going to be pivotal, it will be when you start trying, but you're not doing that right now.
Weight loss matters. And for that reason, I don't feel like I need to bring it onto a public platform at this time. I don't feel...
That's fine. You don't have to. Nobody has to bring it online. But don't then be shocked if you're not explaining it. Don't then be shocked that on this channel, with this content that seems to be directly in opposition to the goals you claim to have off camera, don't be surprised that it causes a few questions as you continue to sit there and not be able to breathe and not be able to do the things you want to do.
I feel like it's something that I'm comfortable doing, and that's my choice.
Yeah, your choice. Again, don't be surprised at the questions. Choose not to answer them, but stop getting angry when people wonder, because what you show us looks like it's killing you. Okay, so she goes on to say that people are threatened by confident fat people, and she doesn't think that way. She just doesn't care if you don't like me. Good. If I thought that was true, I would probably take a lot of your bullshit a lot more. Genuinely, if she were confident and happy in her life, and even if she was having all these health concerns, I'd be like, okay, it's your mistake to make, but you're living the life you want to live, okay. I may not agree with it, but if you were confident and happy and embracing your life, okay, that would probably change my thinking and my response to you a little. But you don't. You go on reporting and ranting sprees. If you don't care what people think of you, then you don't care enough to respond to what people think of you. You clearly care. We've seen multiple examples of you being uncomfortable in your body, you being upset by people in real life making comments or staring, that you just aren't happy the way you are. And you rant and you get angry and you tell people it's none of their business, but happy is not a word we'd apply to you. And if you were a confident person, if you didn't care to the extent you're like, you know what, my life is my life, as you try to be on occasion, as you try to present when you're done and you're trying to rise above it, then I would probably think differently of you. But that's just not where we are. And this goes on for a while. She rants about this at length. But the summary of it is the same stuff she said every time she goes through this rant, which is the world is not fair, is the basic upshot, and that others' opinions shouldn't matter. And she is right. Others' opinions shouldn't matter. And she would do much better for growing a slightly thicker skin on the whole thing. But to say this, I'm guessing she must have put up that community rant beforehand. To say these things as she is actively reporting channels doesn't really practice what she preaches, you know?
I would say having a better character is, better than...
I would agree.
And yeah, I've said some bad things in the past, but
yeah,
it's always been when someone has come for me first. I've never just
No.
sat there and talked about other people. I don't do that.
Guys, that's a fucking lie. I'm so sorry. She does say a lot of things in response to people, and sometimes the stuff she's responding to is a lot of shit. So I'm not saying she's ever wrong to respond, that's her choice. But to say, well, I've never done it myself, I've never done it without provocation, it's just a lie. It's just a lie. I'm not going to cut it all in here, but go do a search. She's got multiple examples on her channel, multiple rants. And to say, well, in the past I've said some bad things, honey, how old is the Charlie Cole thing now? Is that a few weeks? It's not the past as in years. You have done things in the past. You have. But it comes right up to the very recent present. So don't try and wipe it off as, oh, clean slate, it was so long ago. It was recent.
You know, I do my videos, I eat my stuff on camera, whatever, and try to mind my own business.
No, you don't. You are actively reporting channels right now. You have copyright struck multiple reaction channels. If you were going about your life, eating on camera, minding your own business, you would be a lot happier, but you're not.
You know what I do when I don't like something and I can't stand somebody? I don't watch them. Like, who has time for that? There's so many other things to do.
Again, that's a bold-faced lie. Tell me, this reaction channel that you recently started reporting, I'm not defending their content. I'm saying from your perspective, this reaction channel you recently reported, or said you were going to report, whether you did or not, I'm not sure. How did you know about them if you don't pay attention to the community? How do you know about half the things that you get angry about and address in your rants, on your videos, in your community tab, if you don't keep tabs on what's going on? The answer is you can't. Now, there is, to an extent, people who follow her who do keep tabs on that and inform her. Yes, that's something she can't always control. But she definitely goes in and searches herself. She seeks out that content and then she gets mad about it. If she could take her own advice and say, well, don't like, don't watch, okay, but that applies to us as well. You don't like my opinion. This is my opinion. You don't like it. You don't need to watch it. I understand if you don't like it. I understand if you don't want to watch it. Go in peace. But to sit there going, yeah, I don't watch it, then what are you so mad about? Because there's nothing to be mad about if you don't listen to anyone else's opinion, because there's nothing to disagree with.
I have trouble just keeping up, like just cleaning. It takes up all of my time.
And yet you're here.
It takes such a long time. I
And
take
yet
for
you're
a lot of
talking
breaks.
about it.
Or just like hanging out with Pete, video games. Like there's so many shows to watch. It's how
Your life is very, very full. I see that. I see that now. You can't possibly do all those things and spend hours online moderating your comment and following up on other videos. I get that. But you do. So we can't have this conversation if you don't. So that's bullshit. And it's fine. I have no problem with her doing that. It's fine. But it is bullshit to say that she doesn't.
Halloween time. I don't watch like things I don't like. I can't stand it.
That's not true.
You know?
Hi. It's not true.
I don't know. I just don't get that.
But you do it, so you must have some understanding.
But yeah, I know Joe. Like, Joe's probably just like, you don't want to bring drama to your channel. No, I'm not bringing... I should be allowed to say what I want without bringing drama. And, you know, like, there's always going to be...
I should be allowed to say what I want without bringing drama. You should be allowed to say what you want without bringing drama. Side note, she's been quite tense with Karate Joe just recently. She's really not been taking, like, he's always been a little bit like, oh, all right, well, now you gotta do this. But recently she's been a lot more fuck you about it. I've noticed that. But, because he's been a lot more invasive in what he's ordering her to do. And she's like, I get to say what I want. He always tries to catch her mid-rant, which as a moderator, I mean, he seems like that kind of human, but as a moderator as well, he's like, not on the channel, it's going to lead to disaster. And she does it anyway. But things have been a little tense. But again, you don't have to watch us, we don't have to watch you. But you get to say whatever you want about us, and we get to say what we want about you. Because That's how opinions work. People ask me sometimes, I get a few trolls in my comments, but people ask me, why do you do this? Why do you do this? Why? And how dare you? And you're just leeching off her content. And I'm like, I do it because I have an opinion. When you watch a DVD and there is a director's commentary, and they're like, oh, this is why this happens, and this is how this works, and this is what was going on. You don't call them leeches off the content. Now, I suppose you could say, well, a director is involved in the making of it. Okay, let's move on. A sports commentator, are they leeching off the athletes, or are they giving their opinion? Political pundits, are they leeching off the politicians, or are they giving their opinion? She provides a public service, and she makes money off it, and we get to give our opinions. And she gets to not agree with them, she gets to hate them, she gets to give an opinion back. And she's always struggled with that. Because she does it when she's like, taste of your own medicine, I'm going to say what I want. Okay, say what you want, because I'm not giving medicine, I'm giving opinions, and you get to have opposite ones. And this is another thing with like the whole anti-reaction community in general as well. To say, I'm going to come in and insult you to give you a taste of your own medicine because you insult her, and insulting people is wrong. I insult her sometimes, I don't think I do it that often, but I do sometimes get ahead of myself and say things about her. I do. But again, a slight bit of self-awareness, you can come in and insult my wig, you can come in and insult my makeup, you can come in and insult whatever you want about my channel, but the act of doing so completely undermines your point. Just like it undermines hers here. She can come in and say, well, if you don't like it, don't watch it, and yet she watches us and she watches the community. She can say, well, I don't ever say mean things on my channel, and yet she calls people's assholes and dicks. Now, do they deserve that? Sometimes yes, sometimes no, sometimes it's somewhere in the middle and we're all just people with opinions. It happens. But this argument that, well, I get to say what I want, but they shouldn't be saying that, that's all bullshit.
Drama no matter what. No matter what I do, somebody twists it, makes up lies.
You're the world's victim.
Or just like they're doing on Amber Lynn's channel right now. Like,
she cannot resist linking herself to Amber Lynn at every possible opportunity and then ranting about the fact, we're not the same, how dare you? She links them because she wants the clout from Amber Lynn's channel. And that's always been the case. She desperately pairs them up at any opportunity.
I can't even read her comments. It just...
Oh, I thought you didn't read comments, honey. I thought if you didn't like, don't watch.
It's demoralizing at this point.
Oh.
I try to say things in a way that won't like hurt anybody, but...
Bitch, really? No.
We're going to be moving when our lease is up. And I'm probably going to move into a house. I want a bigger house. I want an extra room. Something that maybe my grandma can move in with us. She's not doing very well. And actually maybe a 4-bedroom, because I'd like to have my own little room for filming and things. My house is messy with all my lighting and stuff, and it's going to get worse. I'm buying more lighting. Is on the way.
What?
So when our lease is up, we're probably going to move into a bigger house.
I've got a question about that. She has complained about the apartment. The stairs are clearly too much for her. But when she was looking for an apartment, she was saying how anywhere she could afford was a shithole. So, she found a place. She makes rents with Pete's and whatever. But it's obvious that money, for all she spends it like water, money was a concern when looking at renting. And I'm not entirely sure how it works in Canada, if it's the same in terms of they have to check your income, if you can afford the housing or what have you. I don't know how that works, or she probably had a guarantor because her income is so changeable with YouTube. It's very difficult to prove in that regard. But how is she expecting to afford a 4-bedroom house? That's gonna be expensive, and she's not talking about saving up a deposit, buying it and having a mortgage. She's talking about renting a 4-bed house. Like, how is that gonna work? If you two struggled to find a 2-bed you liked that you could afford, and you ended up where you were because it was cheaper, even though it had the stairs and was upstairs and stuff like that, that was the unit you could afford. What are you thinking here? Like, I don't know if Canada has an allowance for carers. I know there's something like that in Britain that you can claim. I don't know if her if her income from YouTube would make her ineligible for that, or if she just wouldn't declare it. Like moving her gram in might give her some leeway in terms of getting money from the government for the service she provides to her grandmother. Like that could happen. But it's a big old step to be like, here's a 2-bed we could barely afford. Let's go get a 4-bedroom house, assuming Pete's went with her. I mean, run, Pete's, run. But, you know, he seems perfectly happy to live the life he leads. So that's his choice. But a 4-bed house to say like, oh yeah, I want a filming area and I want an extra bedroom for my grams and I want me and I want Pete's. What is she thinking there? How is she going to afford that? That's the last clip I have, but just to go on, the video goes back to people bitching about her online and what terrible people they are. Hi, I'm a garbage person. She's in the line for Starbucks right now while she's doing this, so she does end up going to Starbucks. Still hasn't gone to the pharmacy, like is prioritizing Starbucks over the fact that she needs her inhaler. And she's stuck in the drive-through line. She's there for quite a while, and there's cars in front and behind her, and she suddenly needs to go to the bathroom. I'm sure the grande salted caramel mocha she got will help her to no end with that problem. There are no pumpkin muffins that she'd been looking forward to, and she said, oh, it's an emergency, I really need to go. She's looking around, there doesn't appear to be any public bathroom. She's like, I'm gonna get my coffee and I'm go home really fast, so I'm gonna end the stream, I really need the bathroom. And the stream ends. And that's where we are. I'm gonna check in editing. I think I've maybe mixed up some of the clips and when I stopped them, so I may have done them slightly out of order. Apologies if I have, but that's the main meat of the live. It's already 7:15 p.m. guys. I don't want to edit this, but I'm gonna go do it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Oh, it's gonna be a beast to edit, and I will see you next time. I hope we have less lives. Could you just sit down and plan something for the Vlogtober day she has left now that she knows she's not going to be able to go certain places? Could she just do that, please? But I will see you next time, guys, from me and the rest of the garbage community that drives her crazy. Bye-bye.